So last night, President Trump released his fake news awards. It's like the Oscars without the molesters. Paul Krugman won big for saying the stock market would collapse instantly under Trump. The stock market gained 40% since then. But that's not the real point. Trump not only held Krugman accountable for his idiocy, he turned the reveal into a much-anticipated event, which is great. Krugman is treated among his peers like some moronic oracle immune to reality. Trump proves otherwise. There were other winners, but you probably already know them, since, get this, the press had to cover it. It's genius. Trump got the media to cover their own screw-ups. And it's a good thing. The media gets stories wrong, not because they lie, but by rushing to judgment. They adjust facts in order to fit their biases. If the square peg doesn't fit the round hole, simply shave off the edges. Take Trump's so-called attack on the press and the flaky fallout. They say he called the press the enemy of the people. But if you look around, he was actually saying fake news. By conflating fake news with the whole press, that criticizing their errors was criticizing all of them. It's actually the media smearing the media. They do this with everything, including even terror. If you criticize radical Islam, the media calls you Islamophobic, for they claim that you're actually knocking the whole religion. Likewise, point out the mistakes the press makes, and you're knocking a whole religion too. It's a shame. We could all use healthy criticism. The media should be thanking Trump for it. He's making them great again, whether they like it or not. You know what, Kimberly? The thing I liked about this, he rolled this out.
Clive.
What?
Oh, sorry, Clive.
Clive, yes, Clive.
I like you said Clive Owen and Kimberly Guilfoyle.
He did two things that I thought were brilliant. He rolled it out after the physical. So after they went nuts, the press went nuts about the physical, he gave them their physical. And he made people wait for it. So it was like at nighttime, and finally when he tweeted it, everybody goes crazy and it's trending. It was a perfect showman kind of thing.
Yes, I think it felt more like a colonoscopy today. And CNN, the big winner, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
with the Tacoma 4 awards. But this is President Trump owning it, saying, okay, this is what I've been saying about the press, and now I'm going to, like, mock them and have fun. It's totally consistent with his personality, the way that he does things. People enjoyed it, and let's be honest, look what he did. He, like, crashed a website.
Yeah.
Very similar to what happened with Obamacare website. Boom, it's down. So it shows
Except Trump didn't pay $4 billion for the website.
Indeed, it did. One tweet and went out. So people are looking forward to this. You can take it in, good humor. Feeling good about Fox News right now because we fared well. But, this is part of his personality.
That is true. It's amazing how Fox News didn't end up on that list.
Aren't we great?
Yes.
If anybody was going to get an award, I wonder who it would have been.
Dana. Juan, in the green room, you said,
Dana.
in the green room, I thought it was really nice of you to say, I'm really glad we have this list to see where the press goes wrong.
Yeah.
Good for Trump.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure I said that. More fake news.
Oh, my God. I was like, yeah. Was that a ventriloquist? I'm sure it wasn't Juan Williams.
But they were legitimate errors. If you read the list, they were legit.
But it's like, what does this add up to? What does it mean? Jimmy Kimmel, I think he said, it's the stupid People's Choice Awards, right?
Oh, but that's insulting.
No, because I think the late-night comedians are on this because they wanted in on it. They wanted to win, right? Stephen Colbert took out that ad, the billboard in Times Square, and for your consideration, Mr. President.
Yeah.
So, but I think if you look at this from my perspective, gosh, the press looks so good. They corrected all these mistakes. There were retractions. People got fired.
Why did they do that?
Well, because they're wrong. And
no,
when
they
people
didn't want to
wrong,
be proven wrong by Trump. It's the prove wrong Trump theory.
Talk about you trying to prove that you're right. You're so wrong here. If a journalist makes a mistake and owns up to it, that's bad.
They only did it because they were tired of hearing Trump.
Well, no, because it was such a shame waterfall.
I don't know. I think
it's a shame waterfall.
It is a shame waterfall.
I'll tell you what's a shame
waterfall.
What's a shame waterfall? How about 2,000 lies in 1 year? Is that a shame waterfall?
You ought to know.
I know, because I hear all his lies, and sometimes you guys repeat
Niagara
them.
Falls.
There we go.
By the way, Dana, I once tried the shame waterfall in Vegas. And I'm telling you,
How'd that go?
it took me hours to get it out of my clothes.
That wasn't water.
Oh, my God. You've even ruined my little
Which hotel is that?
What?
Which hotel?
I can't name names. Shouldn't the media take this to heart? Like, isn't Trump helping them?
Well, judging by their paid subscriptions, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's doing better. And I think Chris Wallace, who gave a really good speech, I can't remember what the venue was, but it was about the media and covering the president. And it was one of those things where it looked like he was really sympathetic with the press corps, and then he turned it and said, on the other hand, don't get so passionate and involved. I was going to say that there was an example here. Yes, okay, this one. Zeke Miller of Time Magazine, he genuinely felt horrible about getting it wrong, that the reporting that President Trump had the bust of Martin Luther King Jr. removed from the Oval Office. He paid a big price for it. He felt shame for it. He apologized. He corrected it. And I thought it was kind of a bummer that he got listed on here because he was genuinely sorry.
Yeah, you got the busts wrong. Jesse.
You've never done that.
No, I know. Would you like to comment on Jim Acosta's response, or would you like to just comment overall right now?
I'll do both. What was Jim Acosta?
Jim Acosta has responded to this fake news.
Oh my God.
Awards.
Having been called fake news myself, that the President of the United States is the king of fake news. I don't want people to think that I'm saying that because, I've got an axe to grind or I'm here to criticize or be political or have an agenda or whatever you were saying earlier. It's just a fact. It's unfortunate that the president has sunk to that level where he has to go around issuing these kinds of awards. It's just not like what you would think would happen in this country.
That's my favorite part. It wouldn't happen. Yeah.
I have one thing to say to Acosta. Out. Remember he got booted from the White House the other day for asking a question? And you know what? He did. He walked away in shame. So it's funny to hear CNN talk about what a fact is, considering they got 4 awards. Not fake news, very fake news. That's how they have the moniker. Juan, I was disappointed. I thought you were going to get one. I thought you got robbed, actually. I nominated you for a few. Maybe next year.
Recount.
You've got the big man's ear, so I'm really disappointed because I had an inside voice working for me.
I know.
And I still can't win.
It was between you and Sanjay Gupta. It was a toss-up, and neither of you guys got it.
I'm telling you that where's the minority presence on this list?
Well, he's racist. That's why. It's about race.
You know what it is.
You want to be on there? Oh my God.
You know what? He doesn't know, but I'm Norwegian. I could have been me.
I thought you were Panamanian.
No. And build a wall, Kimberly. Build a wall. We need a wall.
What is going on here?
By the way, let me get this straight.
Yes.
You think it's great when the President of the United States is kicking reporters out of the White House?
After he answered the question, and you say, go.
Let me just say this.
I don't think Obama ever fielded a question in one of those moments. They wrapped him up and threw him right out.
I know seriousness is something you're allergic to, but, it's terrible. I know. But it's terrible that the President of the United States is behaving like an autocrat and saying, reporters are scurrilous and scandalous and wrong. What do you think? The president,
autocrat,
our president, should be behaving this way? It's fine for him
because he
to
said
have a
leave
give and go
because
with
that
the
wasn't
press.
a time for questions. He just gave like a 45-minute briefing to these reporters when he was walking on the South Lawn a couple weeks ago. What more do you want, Juan?
I tell you what, maybe a helicopter so we don't even hear any more of his lies.
Trump treats the media like flies buzzing around his ears. That's what I
also think that he utilizes his access to the media very well, given that, as you started out saying, that everybody covered the fake news awards. And I think maybe going into the second year of the presidency, everyone can just have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Right? Not overreact necessarily, but you got to cover the stuff that he's tweeting and things like that, but just not overreact.
Yeah. Did any of you see what New York Times did today? They published letters from Donald Trump supporters. Is this
with nice pictures?
Yeah, very nice. Is this meant, Kimberly, as some kind of olive branch to say, hey, these are the people we've ignored for so long? Or do you think they're setting it up for the next day where they find Trump voters who don't like Trump?
Well, perhaps that is more Machiavellian, so therefore I like it. I mean, look, full of surprises, why not? I think perhaps I'll go with the latter.
What about, do you think it was more like a carnival attraction, Juan? Hey, let's look at these freaks who voted for Trump, and they probably don't, they're rubes who don't even know what Whole Foods are?
Well, if that's the case, they failed, because I thought the letters made the case pretty strongly for why people felt Trump was doing a good job. So they felt, these are smart people. I don't think that you could be described to these people in any way as deplorables. These are people who made the case, and the New York Times gave them a platform. So I just think I'm going to go with goodwill here and say that it was an opportunity for them to say, join the debate. We want to hear from people who have a different point of view.
Let's hope so.
Jesse?
Yeah, I respect that the Times did that. And I think the two takeaways from the letters that I saw were that the Trump supporters were willing to kind of cast aside the chaos and the brash style if the policies were good. And also, the press hating Trump actually makes the Trump voters like Trump more.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's true with me. It had a definite effect on me, Dana. When I saw the antipathy just get so much, I go like, okay, this can't be right. It can't be real. You can dislike somebody, but to paint him as Hitler, then is insane. Then you realize something's wrong.
Like the overreaction.
Yeah,
but I think the New York Times did it with all sincerity, because I do believe that they genuinely want to understand. Like, why won't people...
Like anthropologists.
Yeah, they really want to understand. Like, why would
Like a
you...
foreign
You hear
tribe.
that. Like, I was on the Upper East Side last night, and you heard
Must be
from
nice.
people saying, like, that they don't understand. And one of the things that this does is that it talks about the voters, not him. And that, I think all of those letters were very, very good. If you haven't read them yet, go on the website and check them out, because it will give you, if you don't like the president, you can read those through and go, okay, I understand why they do.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing to consider in this is, don't forget that this same week, you had Jeff Flake, the senator from Arizona, you had John McCain, another senator from Arizona, both say this president is behaving with regard to the press in a way that undermines democracy.
Yeah,
that's a
but
pretty serious message
but Flake
coming
lied.
from fellow Republicans.
We now know that Flake lied.
Oh, why is that?
Because he said that Donald Trump said the press is a threat to the American people. He said fake media, fake news media.
Yeah.
That's quite a distinction.
Well, but I think that in a way...
I don't think he lied. He
that-
was mistaken.
But also, I think that fake news would mean something that was wrong, like in the awards.
Right.
But then there are things that are true that seems unfavorable or negative to the president. That's also been called fake news.
Well, you know what? We'll have to leave it there.